And you are watching Blewett Blitz. Time for another short review. This time we have Jawan Briggs. Jets traded for him from the Cleveland Browns, 23 years old. Only 13 tackles last year, I believe. Played like the last 6 games. An up-and-comer. Obviously the Jets felt that after they lost Cowart that they had to make some moves at defensive tackle. Briggs was one of them, along with Phillips, who I'll be reviewing in a few days. Briggs, in a small sample size, some impressive numbers. 11th highest run stop rate among defensive tackles in 2024, which is out of 157 players. So 11th highest run stop rate among 157 players. And obviously a very small sample size. Could he continue with those good numbers with more reps, with more games? It's something to be seen. We'll see it this year. We'll see exactly what his role for the Jets is going to be. More of a three tech. He's not really a nose tackle. He's obviously, he's actually a little bit bigger in terms of the size. 6'1", 313 than a Phillips, but Phillips actually holds up a little bit better in the run. So let's get into Briggs' film. All right, starting with the first play of 7 for Briggs. This rep, he actually is a 2-eye. This is Trey Smith, who's one of the better guards in the NFL. One of the strengths we'll see from him is obviously in the run game, not so much in the pass game, but effort, strength, pop in his hands, some very serious upper body strength for Briggs. So an impressive player in limited reps. And let's watch this. Let's watch this run. I believe it's a tight or an inside zone from the Chiefs here, and you have Trey Smith, who's going to try to get play side leverage on Briggs. Let's watch it through, then we'll talk about it a little bit. So good hand fighting, good working the hands from Briggs here. So comes off the ball. Trey Smith does get his hat in front of Briggs and gets pretty good positioning in terms of, okay, you got a hand inside of Briggs, hat in front, some good leverage. Briggs also lands his right hand into the shoulder chest area, gets some extension, eyes into the backfield. Okay, confirms it's a run and it's going to Briggs' right to the offense's left. So past that, we have good working of the hands again. If your hand is up and high like this in the shoulder, or even on the shoulder, outside of the shoulder, not ideal. So what he does is he's going to refit the hand, and we're going to see it right here. Refits the hand underneath of Trey Smith to get better body positioning while working laterally with his base to get to the play side gap. Extension again on Smith. Smith now has his left hand under the elbow of Briggs, lifting the elbow up. When the elbow is flared up, it's not as strong. So we're going to see Briggs then reset the right hand as well to get better positioning. So now we have, 2 hands inside in the chest area of Trey Smith while getting laterally. Or sorry, we're getting lateral. Pulls himself through, extension, lateral step, finds the running back for the tackle. It's a very good play versus a pretty damn good guard at the NFL level. So good start to the review from Briggs. All right, second play, another play versus the Chiefs. We again have Briggs as a 2-eye tech, loose one. Again, whatever you want to call him. We got 0. We got a straight 1. We got 2. You can have a looser ones, tighter ones, 2 eyes. Again, as long as you're consistent with what you call it, it's completely fine. So for now, we'll just call it a 2-eye or a loose one. So let's watch it through. Again, now we have another inside zone, this time with the inside zone split and another disruptful play from Briggs here, who takes 2 bodies and eventually ends up making the tackle on 29 here. Initially gets reached by Trey Smith, and he may have some flexibility here, and a lot of defensive linemen do, and it depends on the exact scheme, the team, etc., where they could have 2-way go here. They could be playing like a lag technique where they're trying to hit that back shoulder and prevent a combo from getting to the second level. There's a bunch of different techniques from defensive linemen, but nonetheless, initially he gets reached here by Trey Smith, so works half man right into that inside shoulder of Trey Smith. Gets good hand placement into the right, working the arm off of his chest. The secondary thing I love about this play is how he turns his shoulder away from 74. If he's going to be more, up and down or not, or parallel, let's say his chest is like parallel to the line of scrimmage, it gives 74 more of a surface area to contact. And obviously you want to get in front of the body and not to the side of the body. So good job reducing that near shoulder to the right tackle. Continuing to drive the feet, right? work towards the flow of the play, right? 74 doesn't have good hand positioning on you. Keeps his hands on Trey Smith, throws Trey Smith out of the way quite well. And Trey Smith, I know he trips over some feet, but it's that um because of the movement that Briggs is creating on Trey Smith, gets that extension, again, tosses him to the ground, finds the tackle on 29. Okay. Another really good play. Again, hand placement, foot drive, reducing the shoulder, power in the upper body to shove Smith to the ground with some assistance, get his hat on a hat, make the tackle. Quick one from Briggs here, but a good example of his explosion. 2-eye versus the left guard right here, and I believe it's a wide zone, mid zone from gun, which I dislike just in general. Outside zone, mid zone from gun. I'm not going to get into it now. That's a whole long conversation I've had plenty of times, but nonetheless, initially gets reached by 67, and 67 has that play side leverage, but he shoots the backside with a club, and you'll see some of the explosion that he has for a 313-pound guy, which is, it's not a huge D tackles. Huge D tackles are 330, 340. They used to be 350. You don't really even see 340 guys anymore. It's like 330. And the lighter D tackles, 300, 305 type areas. So he's kind of in the middle. You do want him playing 2, 3. I don't really want him playing a ton of nose, but again, initially gets reached here. And I think it's a thing where he comes off the ball, realizes the really flat angle that 67 is taking, and realizes, okay, I'm not going to get front side here. And he may have that flexibility to go either gap regardless, but nonetheless, clubs, right? Club, arm over, immediately flattens, chases on, brings down, I believe 30 is Brown, right? But just pure explosion by him again, especially for a guy who's a little bit bigger than some guys who are playing that three tech position. So a nice play in the run game for the tackle for loss. Another quick one. We have Briggs right here, 4-eye. This is where he should be playing more so with the Jets, and maybe they do force him in a little bit to 2-eye, 2-1, because they really, past Harrison Phillips, they really don't have a nose tackle. It's still one of my concerns. They have a logjam of three techs, with Briggs, with Taylor, with Tufele, with Q, but they don't really have a ton of nose tackles. So maybe they will force him in there a little bit more, and maybe he'll be like the backup nose tackle to Phillips. We'll see exactly what they do, but watch him just destroy the left guard. He has very serious power, and it's not necessarily in his lower half. It's really not, because he will get moved at times, but if he gets his hands on you, he can extension with that upper body, and he can kind of pull you by him. Very serious power from him, and we could see that because the left guard does not have a fun time there. Comes off the ball, and he could be a little bit late off the snap. That is one of the things I believe I listed in his weaknesses, but nonetheless, obviously he notices the more aggressive, play or set by the guard, so realizes it's a run. Hands land first, left hand inside, extension, right, working off the right instep. Look at his right foot, working off the right instep. Plants again after he kind of absorbs the contact from the guard. Now he's standing the guard straight up because of his and I think Nani said he benched 39 times of 225. You could see it. And it's weird to me because I remember hearing like coaches talk about, oh, well, when does a bench matter? Now, now, now. So good extension, right? And he doesn't wait. You don't necessarily I don't know. I don't think you guys can see my screen right now. I think something changed in StreamYard, but you don't want to extend a guy and then let him kind of reset his feet and get his feet back under him. You want to extend him and pull him down pretty much, immediately. And obviously there's situations where you don't want to shed too early, but ideally extension, because now they're off balance. Pull yourself through, step through by Briggs, find that running back for a tackle or involved in the tackle. But still, obviously, the point of that play is the sack and shed, which was great. Okay, quick little reminder at this point, a little bit more than halfway through the review. If you like it, obviously throw a like, comment. Again, it helps us in the algorithm. Make sure to go to Jets X Factor for all the great articles. If you just want the YouTube where you can subscribe to these full videos instead of just the short ones, $3 a month, obviously, would be greatly appreciated. Plenty more reviews coming. But make sure to throw a like and maybe comment, even if you don't feel like commenting. All right, play demonstrating some of Briggs' effort. Run goes opposite of where Briggs is. We're going to see him right here at three tech versus the right guard. We'll play it through, and then we'll talk about it a little bit with Briggs. He's a high effort player, and you'd assume that, right, with a guy who is getting limited snaps, trying to prove himself, all that stuff. So you want to see it carry over, but I do want to throw that caveat in there, right? Like it's your first, your second, third game ever. You're hoping they're showing some effort, but I don't think it goes. Oh, I don't think it'll go away with him. It's definitely very high effort, but I do want to throw that caveat. Like, yeah, obviously he should be high effort. So comes off the ball, right guard working towards him, and on the run, hands into the chest, extension, right? Extension, eyes into the backfield. Also look at the left instep, nice and powerful. Nice and powerful. Again, and I've talked about it, and it's kind of hard to explain without you guys being able to see me, I believe at least, and even in general. Your leg doesn't naturally bend against this. Whereas if your toe is pointed towards the offensive lineman, your knee acts like a natural lever point, so it's easier to bend the knee when it's directly in a line with your body. When you throw your leg out like that, like a kickstand, your leg doesn't naturally bend like that. So the only way you're going to push that is like by tipping him over or literally by dragging his foot into the ground. Like it's very hard to move a guy when they have a good instep like that. So gets his eyes into the backfield, realizes that the run is going opposite, easily sheds the right guard, right? Pulls himself through, arm over. Now there's a little bit of clutter. He's trying to find where the running back is exactly. Eyes stay active, finds the running back, right? You have another offensive lineman who's engaged with one of the defensive linemen, blows through that, pushes him out of the way, finds the running back for the tackle. One, you love the stack and shed, you love the hands inside, you love working off the instep, pulling himself through, effort, blowing through another offensive lineman, which I believe is the left guard, and then finding the running back for the tackle for Briggs. All right, so some of the negatives from Briggs, and some of it is in terms of taking on combo blocks, the anchor, the combo blocking, technique and how to take that on. So we're going to see him right here as a three tech, gets washed out versus the run on this one. And really, ideally, if you're taking on a combo block, you want to take on one guy. Ideally, in this combo block, you have high leg, and you have post and you want to dent the post. You want to take on the postman, a guy who's responsible for you. And obviously, it's dependent on scheme. Again, and there's schemes where like he could be lagging, taking on this inside shoulder, turning his shoulder to this guy, not letting them climb. So you're taking 2 for 1 all day, and then the linebackers are free. Again, there's plenty of different techniques, so I don't want to speak in absolutes. So I do want to throw that in there. But in general, when you're taking on a combo block, you don't want to take on two guys. You don't want to have hands inside. You don't want to be as high as he is. He's not super high because he's 6'1", so he's already a little bit more squatty. But takes on the combo block with poor technique. Ideally, if he is, again, either dent the post, take on him fully, or if you are going to take on this guy, again, I wish you guys can see my screen. What you want to do is basically get your hands on him. You want to extend this right foot off. You want to extend that right foot, work off the instep. You want to almost drop this knee. You want to like pivot this foot in, drop this knee to the ground, and then completely dip this left shoulder away from the post, to not allow him to get good hand positioning on you. So that's not what he does. He's pretty straight up. His chest is pretty exposed. His base is not extended. So there's quite a few things wrong there. And then post that, now you have the right tackle. Yeah, the right tackle who's engaged with him, and you have Briggs who is engaged with the combo block, but doesn't have like the timing or the feel to gear it down and find that run. He just completely washed out of that play. Got to see a little bit better awareness there. Got to see, okay, he's pushing me this way, most likely for a reason. Spin out of it, put the brakes on, fall down, create some chaos, but you don't want to get washed out as far as he's washed out of that play, right? Completely washed out. Okay, and you see that more than you'd like. So again, inconsistent versus combos for sure. But he does have he's a good run defender, but typically specifically one-on-one and not versus combos. All right, another rep here from Briggs against a combo, 2-eye, loose one, whatever you want to call them. And it's it's not identical to the last play, but in terms of the technique I talked about, right? Now you could spike a double team where if you get really aggressive and you can just spike your head through there, you could do that as well, but yeah, it has to be very well timed. It has to be very explosive. So this time he takes on the double team. He's lower than he was. He definitely has better leverage than he did last time. But what do you see in terms of now you have two guys who are like Crowler techniquing you, just both near stepping you, and they're going to split the difference between your body, one inside shoulder, one outside shoulder, and they're going to create movement here. So again, ideally, whatever guy it is, you engage with them, you dip the knee nearest away from the guy that you want to turn your body away from. You want to dip, let's say he takes on the right guard, engage him, dip that right knee in, extend the base, and reduce that near shoulder to the center. He takes them on, completely parallel to the line of scrimmage. Right, doesn't get his base extended quickly. You want to really drop that base quickly because they catch him and he's on his toes. Is this a strong position on your toes? It's not. So when you feel that coming, you gotta get your base set. Gets moved because of it, right? It gets driven back, 1, 2, 2 yards, but then plenty horizontally, right? Like this is more of where you want to be, but initially, in that base, even a little bit wider, but he gets moved plenty. Not an easy spot to be in, but we do want to hold up better than he does right there. That is it for the short review for Briggs. If you want to check out the full review has all the list of strengths and weaknesses that I give. Obviously, there's more plays involved. Again, do not forget to throw a like. I appreciate you guys, and I will see you soon.